10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining. Newbees turn to ban.
A very warm welcome back to Epicenter Day 1 of a full-week packed of Dota 2 action. Of course, the wildcard's taking place today, where we're going to trim 4 teams down to just 2, who will join our 6 invited teams tomorrow in the group stage. Our first matches are done and dusted, which means we've had a change of personnel on the desk. So welcome to Gods and Gareth, who've joined myself and Shiva. How you doing?
Pretty good.
All good?
Yeah.
How do you make of the first set of games?
No, Diggity surprised me in game 3, I think. You know, they definitely came out and showed their potential.
Surprised everyone.
Yeah.
And when we sat down in the hotel last night and in here last night, everyone looked at these 2 games and said, yeah, probably easily Fnatic go through in the one game and Newbee goes through in the other. They play in the winners bracket final. Gods, that's not what's happened here.
No, Diggity caused one surprise. I'd be still surprised to beat Newbee. I think it's a tougher opponent coming up next,
yeah.
But very much a big upset, especially considering how one-sided game 1 was. They bounced back really well, so very impressive.
Okay.
Very much so. I think Diggity kind of showed everybody that they have the chance to adapt and move forward. We're doubting them after the qualifiers, but looking strong.
Apparently, the draft is ready for us. So nice and quickly, we can get into the draft, and we can continue talking about these 2 teams as they match up against each other, because they've got 2 in the bag already. Venomance have Faceless Void, Doom, and Lion already picked. So any early surprises there, Gods?
I think for not so much a surprise, but a key thing Diggity is doing is they're securing their key picks. Normally you wouldn't see the Venomance as a first stage pick, but with Diggity and how influential these heroes were in their game 2 and game 3 victories over Fnatic, they want to make sure they can grab them in the first stage, because otherwise there's no chance they're going to get them later.
It's interesting, actually. That's an identical first 2 picks to game 3 that Diggity had earlier on against Fnatic as well, and they faced a Doom and a Lion, but in separate games, so they sort of know what they're doing here, I think.
As I think, with Diggity, can Synderen do that dance of death during the draft that he did it up against Fnatic, against Chuan, Hao, and Kaka, who have so much experience behind them? Venomance faces Void. If Newbee know what they're up against, that Invoker was kind of left in the pool with the Tinker as well.
Teasing each other, weren't they?
Yeah. The Invoker was left.
Take it, dare you,
exactly.
Dare you.
And then they bring out the Tinker. It's like, well, you have to deal with Tinker now. So you've got to go puck. So they kind of force their hand to Fnatic. And here you see straight away Newbee.
Just got to ban both. That's the plan.
They've clocked
got
on.
Tinker and Invoker.
They've clocked on.
But again, there's always other heroes we can see that combo well with the Faceless Void. We saw the Clinks last game, which is a great hero to dish out damage in the Chronosphere. The Mirana was a pick that they lost with in game 1, but it's something that Quake is very comfortable on as well, which also combos very well with the Faceless Void. So it's you can't ban everything out when you're looking at this Faceless Void teamfight lineup that Diggity like to play.
Yeah, I like that. We still also don't know if the Venomancer is going to be a Quake for Veno or a Synderen Veno, as we saw before, of course. And I think that is really key this game. For me, Diggity, they have to be able to come out slightly unscratched through the laning stage. So far, what we've seen from Newbee is that around 10 minutes, sometimes earlier, as we saw also earlier today, they just group up and they just take objectives, and Diggity has to be ready to fight by then.
Newbee pick unkillable heroes.
Yeah.
Like Dragon Knight, Juggernaut, Doom, with Healing Ward and all this nonsense behind them. They, like you said, they group up as 5, they push tier 1s, and they dare you to come at them. They dare you to actually fight 5v5.
And a lot of teams fall for that trap.
Yeah.
And the Invoker is picked this time. That's the biggest difference.
Well, this way, if Void can get an early enough level 6, they've got the Chrono and Sunstrikes for the solo pickoffs. But will
it's solo
Newbee give
pickoffs, but it's very slow paced. You're very much fighting around the Chronosphere. And that's one of the big weaknesses that started getting exploited with Invoker, is that the Exort Invoker, especially, he needs to get a lot of farm. He's much more a late game hero rather than an early to mid game hero.
First 15 minutes, you need people to buy Invoker time, and then he buys himself time with the Hand of Midas and farming jungle and
he's
kind of
very
split
prone
farming.
to getting ganked as well.
Especially when he's split farming with double Forge Spirits, he's sort of off on his own while everyone else is grouping up.
Somehow it's funny that one team bans out all the orange heroes and the other team bans out the blue ones.
Well, the Night Stalker worked really well for No Diggity.
Yeah, and I think that's
Yeah.
that would have been really a key factor for them this game as well. As you can use that so much with the vision, making sure that you have that advantage, making sure that Newbee cannot push in because they don't have that vision advantage that they sometimes always seem to have somehow.
Especially with a Void.
Yeah.
Like, that one play they made during the qualifiers with the Observer Ward bottom lane, where they had the Chrono, the 5-man Chrono into Black Hole. No Diggity, they rely heavily on their aggressive vision.
Ooh. This is very interesting because it's not typically your newbie hero in IO, but Complexity played it against them, and they're like, "Hey, that worked out fine. Let's see.
Well,
Let's see
it
how
didn't
we
work
use
out
it."
too fine.
It didn't work out too fine, but it was
No,
one of the
no.
reasons why the game lasted as long as it did.
And it's also going back to past teams with Kaka. It's one of his best heroes, I would say. So something he probably kind of brings to the table as a new pickup for this newbie squad. Hero that didn't run much in the past, so.
And it makes someone unkillable.
I mean, yeah, you talked about how they have these unkillable heroes. Well, IOS just amplifies that for their cause, because the Jug, the Phoenix, they always want to have that bit of sustain. The Healing Ward, the Sunray, we've seen them. They did a Phoenix Lone Druid going back to game 1 that they played against Complexity. So with those two sustain heroes taken out, the IO with the Tether Heal is going to be the next option.
Yeah, interesting to know that Kaka has been playing a lot of diverse support heroes. We saw support Kunkka the game before this. Before that, it was obviously his Phoenix, which is one of his signature heroes, but he definitely opened up a lot of options for Newbee coming into this squad.
Against a Wisp, you really want to have some like nuke damage from a Lion or something. It's going to be difficult for No Diggity to actually jump and catch the Wisp unless you spend Chrono on him.
Clinks is really good against IO though.
Yes.
If you can run through the ranks of Newbee, sure.
Yeah, because IO's often in the back lines, and Clinks is a kind of annoying hero for IO to deal with. I definitely like the pick. It's, again, going to be whether you get run over in the lanes, because then you've got Invoker and Clinks who are both kind of that single target burst damage. They overlap a bit there. To protect the lanes, they're going to pick up an Earthshaker, which is probably the right kind of idea here. But it's, again, very defensive, static laning coming out from No Diggity.
Try and hold the march from Newbee.
Yeah.
Oh goodness. Viper Wisp, it's been a while.
Yeah.
That's a dirty pick.
Talk about strong lanes. So are we looking, like, how is No Diggity gonna deal with Newbee in the lanes, or are they just gonna ignore it and focus on their own game? At this point, it kind of seems the only option.
They've got like no D-push right now. No Diggity have nothing to actually kill off creep waves early on. And if you get an early mech on Viper, it's just going to be Newbee grouping up as 5 like we've seen before.
Newbee don't put, like right now Newbee's lineup doesn't push that well though. Like you've got tons of sustain, the Vipers in the front lines, but who's actually breaking buildings?
So I mean, there's nothing to stop them, is there? They can stand there and hit buildings all day long.
There's no Diggity just go to another side of the map and counter.
Try and trade out, yeah.
I mean, you don't really want to have one hero counter pushing when you're versing an IO, but the last pick to me, it's house hero, so you're expecting some kind of aggressive fighting hero, be it a Lifestealer, a Sven, something that's going to be the catch and the killing potential. Because right now, I feel Newbee's draft has a lot of holes, but it's holes that can be plugged up with their 5th pick for Hal.
What about the holes for No Diggity? What can plug that up?
There's Sven Ben. They're looking for, both teams looking for their carry. I think they want to, Clinks was, as mentioned, maybe something they would have considered for a 4th pick, but they want something not too greedy. You've got the Invoker in the mid lane, something that can fight, combo well with the Chronosphere.
How about Lone Druids? I mean, it's not the best against Venomancer, just that Gale is always annoying for you.
For Newbee?
Yeah, for how?
It pushes, but it doesn't fight or find pickoffs that well. So I feel like it's very all in on the...
One-dimensional.
Yeah, it's very much let's 5-man push, and doesn't do... I think they want that hybrid carry that can push and fight, which would have been like Sven would have been a good option. Spectre, not pushing, but it's great for fighting. And one of Hal's, I'd say, best heroes as well.
Yeah, and he does fight early with it, compared to others, that is.
Spectre's kind of been ignored today as well, not picked or banned.
No, none of the games so far.
I think Slack is a good hero here for Era. Like, you see this Spectre pick, you're not too worried about being pushed down, and against like a tanky hero like Viper or Spectre in the front lines, you're going to be able to get a lot of best and shift procs off. But Doom the line, that's the scary thought. Like, there's good control for you, there's Doom as well, which can cause you problems.
It's a tricky one to pick, that's for sure.
I'm just glad Alchemist isn't picked.
You say that just
I know, just
Wait
as he picks it up.
for
It's
they
the
do
fifth
safe lane
hero.
Alchemist.
Yeah, they do.
No,
That's
this is like good call. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm still slightly favoring Newbee in this.
All right, I was just going to do that down the line very quickly. So
yeah.
Newbee, for Shiva.
Yeah.
God.
I'm going to go Newbee. I think their early game's really strong.
Okay.
I think Newbie as well.
Wow.
Okay, 3 for 3 on the panel then, and it's Newbie all the way. Are they going to make it a record 24 wins in a row in terms of games? We're going to find out as Game 1 is about to begin. Let's head over to the brilliant commentary team of Capitalist and Blitz.
Wow, that's right. Brilliant is what we get. Well, we heard our 3 analysts. Newbie, our 4th analyst here. Blitz, you going to agree with them? You going to be the full Newbie wipe through the analyst desk?
No.
No?
I'm gonna say no diggity do it.
Wow, why?
Because
Because
I want to
you just want to...
like, I just no other reason.
You're a terrible analyst at that
Well,
point in time.
here's the thing.
Seconds remaining.
This
you
is
just want
a
to be
no-lose.
contrarian, that's
This
all?
is literally a no-lose position for me because if Dig win, then I look like a genius. If Dig lose, I could just be the guy who's playing devil's advocate.
Wow, go you.
I don't
Blitz.
work myself into a corner like these chumps.
I mean, this is how Blitz has the long con. Blitz isn't thinking about the strategy of Dota 2. He's thinking about the strategy of how to get to TI.
You know who else is thinking about the long con? Cinderin. My man, he comes out with that game 1 draft to throw you off.
Yeah, we were like, oh man.
Yeah, Fnatic
Don't
is
think
like,
he's bad at drafting.
Fnatic are probably just like, what is this guy doing? Then game number 2 and 3, before they can even prepare themselves, the Zinderman himself just comes out of nowhere, blindsides them.
Oh man, all right. Okay, so no diggity. Let's go ahead and start off with the good old-fashioned who's playing what. On the Newbie side, we've got Kaka playing the Wisp. How's going to be on the Spectre. Moo on the Viper. Tuan's going to be playing that Lion, and KP is going to be on the Doom. Meanwhile, on the no diggity side, we've got Cinderin on the Venomancer, Koipfa on the Invoker, Era on the Slark, Yapsor on his Earthshaker, and Kezu, who's now become kind of signature with his Faceless Void.
Yeah, this is a hero that I think they just run really well. They understand how important the chrono timing is. They play around that almost exclusively, regardless of what their 4 and 5 positions are. And you have to give a lot of credit to both Kezu and the 2 supports for working together so well, because this team relies on being able to create space for their sort of greedy cores in both Era and Something I do want to point out, though, about Dig is I have been really impressed with the play of Era so far. He seems to be the most versatile of all their players so far, switching between some of those space creating 1 positions when he plays the Slardar versus being able to just play the hard, straight-up carry. At the same time, though, Newbee, I mean, we're talking a lot about Dig, but mainly because Newbee, what is there to say about them? They are so good at Dota right now.
Yeah, despite both of these teams being in the winner's bracket, you almost have to look at this matchup as no diggity being the underdog simply because of Newbee's dominant performance so far, both in the Chinese region and now extending into the beginning of Epicenter. We'll see whether or not that legacy continues.
Yeah, it's just difficult to play against the team that consistently just out-5-mans you more than anything. They put the pressure on quite quickly, and they can do it again with this lineup. Spectre is traditionally thought of, in the past anyways, of a late game core, but because of the ultimate and how your item progression now works, you're out fighting around the 15-minute mark, or even sooner than that, depending on how well the laning phase goes for you. And obviously has always been the same hero. He's pretty static. He doesn't really catch out heroes. He's just kind of that one-hit wonder where he wants to run down lanes, force you to fight around him.
And they're already starting off putting a lot of pressure on Koipfa. Koipfa's playstyle has been pretty much the same throughout all the teams he's been on. He's kind of like a carry style mid. So I like the fact that Newbee are already kind of addressing him early on and trying to shut down that farm, because he does have a lot of avenues to pick up early kills. As you said, the off lane as well as the supports of No Diggity have been working really well together, and they actually have a skill set in this game to set up a lot of potential Sunstrike kills, both via the Chronosphere as well as Fisher.
Yeah, this is a lineup that I think I saw Dig run during the group stage of TI, the Manila, qualifiers. They ran the Void, they rotated both supports as soon as Void hit 6, they smoke at the tier 1 tower, they invade, try to kill the Spectre and throw off his timing. Wondering if they're going to do that this game. Seems like a really good move, especially like you said, since they can set up with the Sunstrike, really easily give the Invoker some solo XP too.
There's something that's kind of struck me for Newbee. Well, maybe first we'll have some action at top lane. KP has kind of put himself in an awkward position, but he has that mythical TP scroll against a team that doesn't really have a whole lot of stunts to offer when the Earthshaker is away.
Yeah. Something huge about this team is KP really likes to play that Moon Meander-esque offlane where he wants to keep both your supports there. He doesn't want any help to come to Koipfa mid. You're already seeing that because Koipfa, this early on into the game, only level 3, already rotating to the jungle because he doesn't like the look of this lane so far.
Unfortunately, KP can't really play too far forward while his TP scroll is on cooldown. as that Slark offers a lot of killing power, but maybe he can play a little bit forward now, as Kaka is rotating up to the top lane as the Wisp, ready to play that surviving role.
Yeah, Air's already going to go on him, and I think this is the right idea. Try to harass as much as he can. If he obviously doesn't like this, as Doom can't really do much to trade back. He does have 5 armor now, though. Help of the toughness aura.
So Koifa, after seeing the Wisp now at the top lane, is going to return back to the mid lane, but it's no Diggity. We're going to put some extra emphasis on top lane. No Diggity rotating.
He's got the angle.
He's got the angle for the Viscer, and he blocks him in beautifully. KP is going to be stuck against the 3 members, and Kaka is just going to look for an escape route as he picks up a TP scroll and is ready to go, but no Diggity, no. Then it's just useless trying to go on him. So they take the free first blood and move from there.
That was a really sick rotation by YapzOr. There's no way that KP could have known about that. They don't have a ward behind the tower. He comes in from the front and the side, avoids the ward completely, manages to get the block off. Really nice to be able to punish that. And you have to punish that whenever you find an out-of-position Doom, especially when the mid lane is being as one-sided as it is.
And there's a very drastic difference now between our 2 offlaners. Kezu is already level 4 and battling it out with these 2 heroes rather freely thanks to the farm he has. Meanwhile, top lane, KP is going to be gone on again as he's jumped by the Slark. He's going to be hit by the Sunstrike to finish him off. It's going to be Era who claims the last hit this time around.
Yeah, DiG are doing a really good job of punishing the safe lane, and traditionally this seems to have been an area of concern for them, but this game, they're doing a really good job of zoning at KP, making sure he doesn't do anything, which might actually prompt him to rotate to the jungle, but probably the most important timing for DiG is going to be this first level 6 Kezu, seeing if they can get a kill onto the Spectre at bottom. Obviously in mid lane, but just getting gone on, but the distance is there with the fissure, and an immediate pause out of Chuan.
Again, YapzOr's rotations seem to be really perfectly timed. He rotates back to the mid lane just as the Viper Wisp trying to get aggressive on the Invoker. I'm not sure if they would actually be able to kill him without their Shaker there, but it's still just he seems to know the timing of Newbee quite well. But as we have this pause, maybe we can look a little farther forward in the future and see like who's going to be really making the first maneuvers. You say it's going to be all about that Chronosphere for no Diggity, them potentially smoking and rotating bottom and trying to put pressure with the Chronosphere. How do Newbee kind of respond to that opportunity that's going to be had for Kezu?
The problem is their lineup is just a little bit more static. When you have heroes like the Viper, and if your Wisp has to be the one to rotate pre-level 6, it's not the best. Doom can make some potential maneuvers, but he's very level reliant more than anything, right? Because he can't really do anything pre-level 6. And that's the one thing Diggity is focusing on, making sure that this Doom gets shut out. Meaning the space creator for Newbee is honestly going to probably be Hal. The Viper traditionally isn't a hero that really goes around, gets out of his way to gank or anything like that. You just try to win your mid lane.
Oh, another beautiful block there from YapzOr. Looks like Chuan is going to be in some serious trouble. Has an Impale up in a second. Is just trying to stay ahead of Kezu at this point in time. Has to blow some of his mana. 2 more mana, and he'll be able to have an Impale that might be able to save him against Kezu. Now Kaka's going to appear, and Chuan will be fine. It's going to be Kezu goes down instead. Great response there from Newbee. Kaka at the right place at the right time, and Chuan just a little bit of juke and jibe will allow him to be able to get the turnaround kill.
Yeah, unfortunately didn't have mana on the Invoker to be able to turn that around with the Sunstrike. Would have liked to, but really good rotation by Newbee to bring their Wisp down too. And they're abusing that early, only level 2 time walk. Kezu decided to be a little bit greedier, going for the 3rd level of the time walk, which nowadays people seem to do a little bit more frequently.
Yeah, that's ever since the change up, right, where they increased the time lock damage outside of Chronosphere while nerfing it slightly inside.
It's really strong for the laning phase. It means that supports generally can't trade against you.
Right.
But
especially when you've got that poor man shield, which Kezu was able to pick up so early on.
Yeah. I'd like both supports, though, to rotate now. They know that the Void is going to hit 6. There's a good chance that there's not going to be a lane ward down here. They already kind of proved that with YapzOr's initial rotation. So what I'd like for them to see is get this level 6 from Kezu, let him get the solo XP. He's pinging like crazy. And as soon as that happens, you can even dive under the tower for the Spectre. They have more than enough damage with this first Sunstrike. And this is kind of how you want to set the tone of the game more than anything.
Yeah, you've shut down one space creator in the Doom. If you can prevent Hal from being able to have a large impact as we start going around the 15-minute mark, this is going to be the time. Sets up a Chronosphere. The follow-up abilities should be enough to burst down as he goes down to about a 30 HP. He's going to be forced to pop his ultimate here, but isn't going to be able to jump away in time. He didn't really have an escape. He could have gone to Koifa in the mid lane behind the tower or Era at top, but that just would have given the enemy carry a free kill. So Newbee unable to do much there, and that made even worse by the fact that they blew the Spectre ultimate for it.
Yeah, I'm pretty surprised that Newbee wasn't playing around that fact, and Chuan at bottom, he's going to get gone on. doesn't really have help coming in, is the Viper's going to be the one to TP.
The Sunstrike's on mark though. Chuan does go down. Kezu a little bit low, but Moo doesn't really have anything to stop him here. It's a time walk, and TP out is actually going to be enough. It looks like just barely able to get away ahead of the Spectre Dagger. Good thing too. Don't want to be giving away any free kills to a Spectre at this point in time, and there you have it, the kind of static laning phase that Newbee, you were kind of talking about. That's a serious weakness in them. We're seeing that weakness really appear now as no Diggity are applying pressure, and Newbee aren't really able to respond that well.
Yeah, that's the issue with Viper. It always has been. Is he's kind of a static hero. Even with the TP counter rotations, you hope that enemy team overextends. That's usually the way that Viper's going to set up kills, if not just outright pushing. But that rotation at bottom being Diggity's favorite, so easy to call that nowadays, just because you know when they play the Void, and almost regardless of what two support heroes that they have, if they have that Invoker mid, it's one of their favorite combos. It's not even hard as an analyst to call that one.
Yeah.
They almost always make that rotation in all their games, but
in that case,
scout it.
Do you think that maybe Newbee are, perhaps this is what we were talking about on the analyst desk, that perhaps they can get caught unawares by some teams that are a little bit more foreign to them that they don't know as much about? I mean, if you're able to call that kind of rotation, it seems like Newbee should be able to too, and yet they still get caught by it in the mid lane. TP out from YapzOr, it's not going to be enough though. The damage over time, oh, he dies inside the fountain. So still a kill going the way of Moo. No Diggity in the meanwhile are putting more pressure on the bottom lane.
Yeah. YapzOr just kind of overestimating his ability to TP out, the Viper damage being enough, with the 2 levels of the Nether Toxin adding quite a bit of a boost, but it's just, I think if you're Newbee, you don't look past your first opponent, but you might think about your second one.
Yeah.
And when you're kind of looking at things logistically, be real, Diggity were the underdogs against against Fnatic. So when they kind of plan around that, they might just look at more Fnatic games and say, okay, this is our next opponent. Let's just kind of see what's going on there. And that's a reasonable thing for them to do. But them not studying Dig games might hurt them in this short term. Is they're already off to a 4-2 lead. Nobody too important has died from Dig.
Koifa is about to make a full recovery here as the Invoker. He's been playing around the jungle for the most part, thanks in part to the pressure of the Viper Wisp, but he's still able to pick up a 9.5 minute Midas. So he should be able to, around the 20-21 minute mark, still be looking all right when it comes to those levels. We're looking for another Chronosphere, I believe.
Yeah, play around this chrono timing well, but if you're Newbee, you want your timing to be soon. You want to be able to hit your 6 on your Doom, start running at people, going for the 5-man, and overwhelming no Diggity with pressure. That's sort of how you want to play this if you're Newbee, but
that's going to be with the early earn from Kaka as well as the mech on the Viper for this game, right? That's where your timing's really going to lie.
It's just been slowed down a little because KP is more underfarmed than he typically is.
Right, there's the Chronosphere at the bottom lane. Ready to go with the Sunstrike. They also have the Fissure as well. They're going to pop the Synderen ultimate just to make sure that Hao does in fact go down. Moo's opportunity to be able to respond. Might be able to get a turnaround kill on Kezu, and he does shortly before the Time Walk was ready to go. Still though, losing their Spectre and so much space being created for Era at the top lane.
Yeah, and even more importantly, you're creating space in the mid lane. This is why their Void strategy works so well, because you rotate both supports down, you play around the chrono timing, you rinse and repeat over and over again, and if Newbee don't respond properly, then you open up 2 core space from Dig. And typically this is going to be quite a greedy lineup just because Slark, before he has this first set of items, he can't really create space for you. But as a result of how this goes and how well they play around the chrono, can constantly create space for this lineup and delay those timings from Newbee, allow Dig to get a little bit ahead. But Newbee still have ways around this. They didn't waste the Haunt this time around at bottom, so they can play around that effect, and they have hit level 6 on Doom, so this will kind of be the next set for Newbee to sort of get aggressive around the map, probably, like you said, once they finish the mech.
But that's going to be some very bold-faced aggression at that point from Newbee, right? It's going to be fairly easy to read. It's not like they have a whole lot of surprise initiation on the side of Newbee. They have more of this sort of like 5-man into your tower and push with mech, which is fairly easy to read. No Diggity can choose to respond if they want to. For example, in this mid lane, they're opting not to try and defend that tower. Instead, spending more time farming away and wanting to fish that Shadow Blade for Era.
I think once the Shadow Blade on Era comes, Newbee supports especially are going to be hard-pressed to stop them. If you're a Lion, an underfarmed Lion and an underfarmed Wisp against Slark, especially a Spectre actually, that can't leave the base anymore. We've seen in the past what happens when Slarks get those early silver edges against a Spectre. You pop off his dispersion and just go to town on him.
Yeah, lock him down with the pounce. Even Dagger can't save him most of the time.
Was it FDL versus Shazam. Yeah.
Because it was poor TC playing the Spectre, and Bisa was targeted TC like none other. We're seeing another advantage of the support to Venomancer, being able to put constant pressure on a lane by spamming out the wards. So they're getting a lot of free information from this one, knowing that there's not a whole lot of heroes in this bottom lane. They're only just now showing both Chuan and Hao, but with nobody mid either, this does give a lot of heads up that Newbee may be thinking about a play at the top lane, which you see No Diggity have completely abandoned and are even going to go for a smoke at bottom lane. They're going to wrap around behind this tower.
Chrono's up. They know they have vision behind the tower. They know how to play this. They, at the very bare minimum, they want to take this tower, but more importantly, they're taking away Hao's ability to use the Haunt aggressively.
Right.
So bottom.
There is a relocate opportunity, but they're going to be, oh, nice Hex immediately thrown out. Now the bigger dead, turn around, Kenzu's going to get popped. Doesn't even manage to get off the Chronosphere, and now the relocate comes in. Spectre pops that ultimate. They've already cleaned up the Wisp, so they're going to go for Yapzor next, as Hao tries to chase down his enemy. KP's going to help him out by throwing out the Doom. Oh, Era needs some help, but unfortunately the Wisp gets sent back at just the wrong time. Era is forced to use his ultimate to be able to survive. Moo gets hit by the Sunstrike. He's dropping lower and lower, needs some assistance, and here comes the Wisp, just in time to be able to keep him alive. Era looking for two, but is only going to get one. Moo manages to survive, and that's going to be a wipe, leaving both Moo and KP to be the big victors.
Really well done by Newbee there. They set up that trap perfectly. Chuan's positioning in that fight, perfect. He immediately gets the initiation off onto the Faceless Void before he can get it off. Third time's the charm. At that point, they realize what's going to happen. They understand the rinse and repeat cycle. Dig have kind of gone into that relocate play, beautiful by Newbee, but even more importantly than that, Chuan's positioning. And finally, they're able to use the Haunt aggressively. They were able to kill the Slark, which is the key target there. And keeping your Viper alive is going to be pretty key, but again, the Chrono's still up, so Diggity, they can't get passive here. They can't get gun shy after taking that fight. You want to immediately start to look for it again. The Haunt cooldown is considerable.
Oh, well, relocate in 15 seconds, but yeah, Haunt is definitely the big ability that No Diggity need to be able to consider.
Yeah, that was impressive though.
Pressure.
How they broke up that rhythm that No Diggity had set up.
And that was exactly what I saw from the qualifiers in Newbee. I saw times where they knew timings of rotations and would preempt that, just like they did at the bottom lane, which was so surprising to me. They were caught out by the Chronosphere timing the first two times, but now we're really seeing Newbee perhaps hit full swing.
It's hard to defend that bottom tier 1 tower on Radiant side. Oftentimes it's kind of the tower of death. Teams will get into the trap of thinking because you have a tower and you're nearby, it can be helpful, but you have to preemptively set up 3 heroes. And obviously the Wisp is one of the better heroes at being able to come in just because you can be split pushing the other side. Really well done by them to have those 3 heroes preemptively ready though.
Yeah, and even the little things one-siding after that team fight. No Chronosphere opportunity being found for No Diggity as they push out the bottom lane, but there was a trade as Hao was able to claim the safe lane tower of No Diggity, and they're going to have Haunt coming up very soon in time for the next team fight.
Yeah, that's a really good point, just because Dig right there are looking for any sort of fight that they can take because they know that cooldowns are in their favor, but by Newbee just trading efficiently, it means it's not like they're doing nothing during the time period where they can't get aggressive. It means they're still trading, they're getting something out of the map, and they're refreshing their cooldowns.
Oh, Chuan runs in, has up a Fort Spear, but they're still going to be able to catch up to Koipa with the dagger. He's going to look for a little bit of jump away with Ghost Swap, but Kezu responds with a nice 3-man Chronosphere. That's going to be Kaka down first. Now they turn around. The Impale, as well as a Finger of Death, going to be able to blow up Kezu. Looks like the Invoker was able to skedaddle away, slightly ahead of Hao. In the end, that was a smoke ache and ended up obviously the trade being worth it for Newbee, but that was also a pretty heavy commitment by them, both smoke as well as Hao's ultimate being used.
Yeah. Also, you're going to notice the Doom going for the Shadowblade build this game. He is really fun. He's got Midas Shadowblade already. He's going to make it really difficult for anybody on No Diggity to set up for this. The one downside of this is the build against Void is not the best, but the build against those split push invokers that constantly test your limits, this build punishes that completely.
A Slark as well, right? Because you try and Blink Dagger, jump a Slark,
Yeah,
he can just hit the R button. Yeah, real quick, so definitely more opportunities for KP. And that all comes down to that bottom fight. They don't have a fight like that near that tier 1 tower where they responded against the Chronosphere with a quick hex from Chuan, and KP's not able to get in this kind of position.
He starts the game off by dying twice early on, not getting anything, wasn't even jungling really, super under level, but has really made his impact felt in this game. Like we said, though, the downside of this build is it's going to be harder for him to jump the void and get the initiation off, which means maybe they just have to tank it. But if you look at Newbee's lineup, they are well suited to do this. They've got a Spectre as their core. They've got the counter initiation of the IO, and most importantly, the mech Viper. There's no easy targets.
An opportunity just like this presents itself with the Shadow Blade. They're able to run into Era with the relocate ready to go. The attempt, not even attempt, that a deny Cinderen's also going to be picked off as Chuan comes in with the Earth Spike. 11-9 now, Newbee. They are getting really out of control now. They are getting so much control in this game.
Yeah, off of that one play bottom again, like you said, it all leads back to the fact that they couldn't get the chrono initiation off. Newbee read them like the book there. And now it's just Newbee taking map control. The Doom with the Shadow Blade makes it so hard for Air to play his game. Now they're in a position where, you know, they can look for the pickoffs. They're not so hard committed for looking for the straight 5-man, which typically happens when you have a Viper because of the Shadow Blade too. Get relocated in with the Wisp and make things happen around the map.
Looks like they're circling around behind Hao. This combination of Yapzor and Koifa, they really need this kill too. They're going to lead with the Meteor, but unfortunately the stun is just a bit too late. Now Hao is able to pop his ultimate and jump himself away. Reality to the bottom lane, which chases Kezu out.
That was not... I don't really know how to describe that. They just didn't coordinate. That had to have been probably a lack of communication on their part, where Koifa saw the opportunity to go in. Maybe Yapzor thought he was going to lead with the Yule Scepter. Actually, that's probably what happened.
Yeah. Because then he can close the distance and maybe get the chain stun. Cinderin actually runs into 2 here, is able to get off his ultimate, but is it going to be enough? They've got the backup. There's no response from the rest and no Diggity. Era just does what he can at this point, making the best out of a bad situation, continues for the push at the top lane, trying to draw Newbee away from taking objectives.
Yeah, now Newbee's just frustrating them around the map, getting individual pickoffs wherever they can. And the most telling sign in a game like this is they don't have to 5-man to do it. They're just running into opportune moments because of this KP Shadowblade pickup. They haven't even had to expend the Doom for that. It means the cores are going to play split up and afraid. And DiG are kind of in this lose-lose situation. If they split up and farm like they are right now, then you're liable to get ganked by that Shadowblade Doom. If you go for the 5-man, then the Viper is going to destroy you.
So if between those two bad choices for no Diggity, which one would you kind of rely on? Because it feels like splitting up is not doing them anything real good, as Newbee have definitely gotten enough pickoffs to stay ahead in this game. So maybe it's time to try and 5-man, see what happens from there.
I think the real play is to start looking for fights around your chrono again. I think DiG got into this rhythm where the first few ganks worked out, but then the next 2 or 3 don't go so well, so you decide to get a little bit more shy of things. You play a little bit more back. I think that's the wrong decision, because when they were playing around the Chronosphere, they were incredibly successful, but by clearly avoiding these fights, you just kind of leave yourself open to these one-off pickoffs.
So situations like Kezu farming up the jungle right now, he needs to be playing more aggressive off of his supports, perhaps.
Yeah.
Nice read there. No Diggity. Managed to get a read on the smoke, get the scan on Chuan as he was rotating into the secret shop area.
At the same time, it is really hard to fight into Diggity's lineup. The Earthshaker obviously having a lot of counter initiation. The Chrono plus setup into the Invoker spells is always going to be strong, regardless of what phase of the game you're in or what kind of lead you have. So it's not like Newbee necessarily want to go for the 5-man, but...
Round 2 of going on to Hao. He does have the haunt up yet again. Kezu waiting and is now going to drop the Chronosphere just in time to stop that TP. Spectre thinking that perhaps he could keep that haunt alive by just TPing out. Newbee are going to respond in kind, though. They're going to get a pick-off on Kezu, it looks like, as they've got the Doom ready to go. And Kezu's not getting away, certainly not with that Purge.
Hey, Era's making his way up with the Doom down. This might be an opportunity for him.
Chuan's ready to counter-initiate, though. He gets pierced by beautiful Hex, and Era is blown up. Chuan set that up beautifully. He knew. He's like, okay, Kezu's dead. I don't need to do anything about that. All I have to do is wait for Era to poke his head out, and I can get us an extra kill. Unfortunately, bottom lane. Oh, they actually brought the Viper back. That was not the play. As Yapzor was ready to go. Maybe Moo is actually still good, though. The Deafening Blast, and now an Earth Spike comes in. They get both of the supports, and Moo will survive through all of that. TP's away casually off of 300 HP.
Chuan has been the man of the match.
Yes.
I don't care what you say, just off what he's been able to do his positioning as a support has been impeccable. Doesn't even waste any time at top. He says, oh, we're going to make that fight happen at mid. I'm immediately going to start beelining there. Waste no time doing so whatsoever. Dig lose 4 heroes as a result. That should have just been a one-off trade for them. They kill the Doom. That's all they need. But he's just done such a good job of setting these things up. He knows that the counter initiation is going to come in from the Slark. Because any core player thinks, oh, that Doom is dead. There's nothing that can stop me.
KP's about to get so much more. He's got another 2k gold on top of the boots of travel.
Oh, I bought him.
That he picked up.
I was going to get gone on.
He still has the haunt. He's going to have to reality away somewhere, but doesn't see an opportunity. Everyone else was in the mid lane underneath the tier 2 tower, so that really wasn't a great escape opportunity. So in the end, another situation where a haunt is blown and the Spectre still goes down.
Yeah.
Great opening perhaps for maybe to continue this, to look for a Chronosphere pickoff, or wins the opportunity to no Diggity go for Roshan.
They know there's no... Oh, they actually know there's vision now for sure, up on that high ground hill, but... It is going to prompt Newbee to play around this area, clump together a little bit, but... They're going to start pinging around that Roche. They might know this is happening, but if they're going to defend about it, they've got to be quicker than this.
Yeah, Newbee need to start heading over there now, so that way we can have the Spectre Haunt come in. Roshan already down to 3k HP. They're just about to come in with Moo, though. They're going to see Roshan about to die. As Spectre pops that ultimate, gives them all the vision they need. Can they actually grab the Aegis? No, Era managed to pick it up. Kezu drops the Chronosphere, zoning out the rest of Newbee and catching Moo inside, but they're trying to pop it. It's just not quite enough. Meanwhile, Al goes for a quick takeoff, tries to TP out immediately afterwards, but Era is able to stay on top of him with the help of Yapzor. Oh, How actually getting a save there as Chuan comes in at the perfect time with another disable. Era has to pounce himself over the trees to get out. And in the end, Newbee managed to make that Roshan fight work for them. There's still the advantage of an Aegis on Era for no Diggity in the next team fight, but this one was still a win for Newbee.
I sort of think Era had the opportunity to kill that Viper. I know he wanted to go for How and make it worth it just by killing a core, but by killing the Viper right there, there's no longer really a frontliner for Newbee. That Doom you can start to eat through. Doesn't have that much armor that you have to worry about it too much. Just A to his name, but kind of feels like a little bit of a missed opportunity, especially with how Kezu set up that Chronosphere. The Viper was on the very edge of it. Era had the opportunity, but instead assumed that he might die, I think, was the thought process behind that. But by killing the Viper, I think they open up a little bit more.
Koifa, gone, deleted. Koifa's not going to have a fun game, man. He's already far enough behind that you're not going to see a Linken's anytime soon, and he has to deal with both a Lion and a Doom, two different heroes that can threaten to just combo him down before he can do anything. Meanwhile, Era's going to try and jump on a How in the mid lane, gets daggered up, and Era actually not going for it. Dark Pact, and biding his time. He's got the 2 supports behind him.
Yeah, How already buying the recipe for the Radiance in prep for this. One for the Vit Booster first to try to deter Dig from going for him, but hasn't been too successful in that regard. Silver Edge is completed by this Doom. Nice little item pickup for him. But still, I mean, Dig is in an okay position. They still have...
Oh, they get the pound blowing up How. That's the combination you need to see from no Diggity. Quick and clean. Take out the Spectre, and Newbee have absolutely zero chance to respond.
And this has been by far the lowest point for Newbee so far, is they just haven't been able to incorporate How into anything. And I think part of that is he's getting a little bit too over-aggressive with how he farms, or assuming that they won't go for him because he's a Spectre with a Vit Booster, but Dig is proving time and time again they're going to kill you.
SNY Dragonlance for the Viper, so even if How is drawing a lot of attention, both the Viper and the Doom are getting quite a large amount of farm. This is still got to be concerning for you, right? As no Diggity, because eventually the Spectre is going to come online no matter how many times you kill her. And Doom is not something you want to trifle with in the late
KP,
game.
He's got the angle.
Yeah, and this is still an Aegis hero, though. They want to make sure they can absolutely kill it, and they're going to be able to do it with the help of Chuan. They should be able to get this kill and out before no Diggity can catch them, or maybe not. Yapzor blocks him in with the Fisher. KP doesn't have a way out. 4 more seconds until the Silver Edge is back up, but Moo, again, the frontline hero that no Diggity really do not want to contest.
They just want to make sure that Dig, the timing around that Aegis, and to force fights on their own terms. That's a smart idea there, but more than anything, they drag heroes away from this bottom area, and they put the pressure onto the Slark, giving Hal a little bit more room to work with. And Newbee's done really well they've done a really good job so far of trying to create space for Hal. It's just, I think he's playing a little bit too over-aggressive sometimes.
Radiant's middle
Ow.
tower is under attack.
All right, he's being a little bit more cautious finally. That bottom lane was open to farm, and I thought he was going to go for it too.
Please don't do it, How. Come
yeah.
on, man.
Kezu and Koifa, they're ready to pounce. Meanwhile, the rest of the pressure from Newbee. How's waiting for essentially Newbee to push down this tier 2 tower and either reveal that no Diggity are behind that tier 2 or that they give it up, which means that no Diggity, some of the members of the team must be elsewhere.
Yeah, I don't think this is a fight they take. They have no vision around that area. They don't have Echo Slam up. It would be crazy suicidal to take that fight.
Yeah. So How's just going to have to rely on a little bit of tower gold and some jungling. Try and finish off that Radiance while some of these heroes from No Diggity are off map. Kezu is going into that sort of semi-carry build now for Faceless Void, has the Yasha. We'll look towards Manta Diffusal later on.
And Era already going to look for some kind of jump at bottom. Well, gone for the Manta and prep.
Newbee are doing that play. They're going to sit back with their 2 supports, hiding, waiting for the natural flow of the game where no Diggity
has a gem.
They're
going to see KP here.
Oh, jump in. Echo Slam immediately jumping. They're going to follow this up with the ult step. They're going to try and save this fight, though, as the Spectre Ultimate comes in. Yapster's already low enough. He managed to get off the Fissure, though, blocking in KP even further.
So
and they've definitely got him dead. But is it going to be worth for no Diggities? They're going to be losing so many members, especially as Era tanks the Doom at the last second, which means he will fall as well. 3 down from no Diggity. Chronosphere comes in, catching Chuan. They will get a second kill on this, but Newbee are still going to be very happy with this trade-off as is.
Yeah, that was so well done by this Wisp to save the Doom for that extra half second where he's able to get the Doom off. As a result, the Slark goes down, and the Slark thought that Doom was dead to right, so he doesn't even bother popping his ultimate. Has no chance to do so. Maybe take that fight.
If Farrah doesn't get doomed, and he obviously survives, that fight could look a whole lot different.
Yeah, he goes insane in that fight. It's actually only the Doom that bothers him so far, but you have to overcommit to kill heroes. Simply what it is.
Kanka is not going to be that easy of a kill anymore. He's actually going to be completing a pipe relatively soon, but he's already got the Hood of Defiance.
With how cheap this item is, it's completely viable nowadays for supports to go for it. And the amount of value that you get, especially against Diggity's lineup, features so much of their damage being magical, especially from the 2 supports.
Kanka, no amount of magic armor is going to save you from that, though. Koifa still outputs a lot of physical damage thanks to the Alacrity and Forge Spirits. And they may try and take this fight mid. Oh, actually, Chuan's going to be able to get the Force Staff initiation on the Yapzor. He's done for.
And Mu has been a lot in a lot of these fights, and he's been the recipient of so many of these kills, but it's all been Chuan so far, setting this up.
Now they may find another one. Chuan, a little bit late that time on the blink forward. Good jump away by Kezu, making just the general read that he was in danger.
Radiance now completed by How, by the way. So this hero is going to see a huge jump up in efficiency.
Do you think the Hood of Defiance is even more value than the Glimmer Cape? Because that's a pretty common item pickup, or it used to be on Wisp, and pretty common against Slark as well, because the nature of his disable.
I don't think they really care too much about it.
Yeah.
I think they want to just be able to 5-man, and the pipe is so good against both the Venomancer and the Earthshaker. You can negate so much of that damage. Same with the Invoker. You can force him to go for more of the right click and force him to hard commit more.
Right.
Or get at least a little bit closer in these fights. So I think the way that he's building it is okay. Hey, back then Glimmer was absurd of an item.
True.
You got it on pretty much anybody.
Well, no Diggity. They've got to come together with a plan, and they've got to do it soon. Silver Edge is up for Era, but now we have a Blink Dagger 2 on KP. So all the initiating tools he could ever need in this game are available to him.
Dig have to realize too how often Newbee plays on their side of the jungle. So they're doing the right thing. They're scouting out with the gem on this Invis Invoker. I really like this play. Trying to see what else they can get started.
What's real stat is when that pipe is complete, I just looked at Cinnamon, he has nothing. He's got brown boots and urn, so there's no opportunity that we're going to be sailing Veil of Discord or Aghanims later on to the game. This is one of those like hard 5s that will always be a hard 5, and there's nothing else that Cinnamon is really going to be able to do here, so his ult is essentially going to be completely cancelled out.
Yeah, he had to make all this space for Yapzor to be able to get his Blink Dagger.
Right.
But I still think there have been a few fights where he got out of position or went to go for solo warding and was just picked off by a hero from Newbee, and that's something that can happen. A lot of the times when he does die, it's in an opportune position for his teammates to kind of get something out of it. But in this game, it feels a little bit less efficient than that. Newbee have done a really good job, though, of setting things up with the Doom, but that Venomancer probably going to be poor no matter what. And honestly, items don't really mean too much on him anyways.
Yeah. Is Newbee perhaps a little bit scared that no Diggity are looking for something? The way that they're kind of 4-man clumping and leaving How completely off map. He's ready to go with the Spectre ult, but he's not even trying to farm up too much.
I think they're just sort of setting up for things, trying to predict the movement of Dig, waiting for somebody to come defend, but this bottom fight, it's going to be kind of difficult. They don't really have vision, so they're not going to really understand which angle KP is going to come from.
Yeah, and nice snipe with a Sunstrike.
Yeah, that might lead to some difficulties. You notice at bottom, most of the time tier 2 towers are an easy defense, but a lot of it is predicated on vision, because they don't see anybody, they don't know where the Doom is, why bother initiating into that?
Dire's bottom tower has fallen.
Funny thing, that was supposed to be the advantage of the Invoker running around with the gem, but unfortunately they never actually crossed paths with the Doom when he was scouting.
Oh, mid. They're showing everybody right now. This is a really good opportunity for Newbee.
Yep, they're going to jump in, manage to get the stun out. Looks like they're going to focus on Tinderin first while they do manage to get the Doom onto Koifa. So 2 heroes already down for no Diggity, and no opportunity to be able to get anything out but a quick kill on Schwan.
They got the gem. It's by far the biggest trait that they can get.
Yeah, now KP can run around once again with that Silver Edge, right, with impunity.
And more importantly, now you've got the free detection onto the Slark, which makes this Silver Edge a lot less efficient. Meaning, again, KP can just look for the solo kills on him. And Roshan is now opened up as a result of this. I don't think you go for the buyback here, especially without the Venomancer having his ultimate, even if he was available in the fight.
Era's actually got a Ogre Club. I thought he would be building into a Lincoln sometime this game against the Doom.
Yeah, it would have been pretty efficient, but probably thinks that the stunts from the line and the initiation of him is a little bit more annoying. It's one of those situations where there's no right item build here,
right? Where
you sort of need both, and you can make the argument for either the BKB or the Lincolns. It's the worst position to be in as a carry.
Yeah.
It usually means there's no one item that's really going to save the fights for you.
Yeah, something's definitely gone wrong in the game, and you're sitting at 2 bad item decisions, or not great either way.
Yeah.
Manta style about to be complete for How, so say goodbye to your supports. He pops the Hunt, he jumps you, he pops Manta, and well, Cinderin certainly not going to survive. The only way Yapzor survives through that is actually blowing his whole combination.
You notice what he waits for too? He waits for the Venomancer to pop the ultimate onto the Illusions +1 hero, then he comes in, make sure that there's not enough damage to kill him.
Completed Scotty for Moo. He is a flying tank at this point. 3,000 HP, 24 armor, and let's not forget that a whole lot more sustainability comes from that Wisp.
They are not going to cut through that hero. I really like the Scotty decision. The Dragonlance enables him to... It's going to be really hard to ignore him in these fights just because of that range. The S&Y gives him some chase ability, and they have more than enough damage already. So his job is just to slow heroes down and be the frontliner that they need.
No Diggity don't really have too many options here. Just continuing to try and farm away. It's not to their advantage, but don't really have any other options at this point. BKB is going to be coming in for Doom. Let's talk about late game, since we don't see No Diggity actively trying to contest Newbee, and I'm not sure if Newbee is really ready to go high ground. Can this change turn more into the favor of No Diggity as we push this more 45, 55 minutes in?
Yeah, I think No Diggity, it's really hard. Just because, again, the Slark, there's no right item for him to go.
Yeah.
If he gets doomed, the fight almost instantly ends. The Invoker's kind of in a similar situation where, what do you get at this point? If you go for the Lincolns, well, there's a lot of different ways for Newbee to break it.
You could say the Viper drops off for Newbee, but the rest of heroes certainly do not.
No. Lion's always going to be really effective, especially with the amount of farm that he has. Spectre just grows in strength. He has a lot of room to grow too.
Yeah.
Part of the cool thing about him being so underfarmed is he can only catch up. Doom is in a position where he's Doom. He's always going to be the best hero in the game. Just cast one spell, nullify a hero.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, when we talk about Vipers dropping off, it's usually because they can't farm very well, and they usually fall off in items. We rarely see those full 6-slotted Vipers, but this, if the game does go late enough, this is definitely going to be one of them. Moo can start swapping out some items for more damage if he really feels it's necessary.
That is a Viper that didn't go for Hanamitis that is still leading in network.
Yeah, that's absurd. That's what happens when you get 11 kills, 0 deaths, and 7 assists.
Yeah, this is a hero, again, that we talked about. It doesn't flash farm very well, like you said. Doesn't necessarily push out the lanes too effectively, but still done such a good job of frontlining for Newbee. Done his job exceptionally well.
Few more minutes on the Aegis. Newbee are getting some pretty good control of the map, so it looks like it's about time to push high ground.
They pushed out all the lanes. They've got a lot of map control. If they really wanted, they could wait for the next Aegis. Don't necessarily think that's the best play, but DiG still really have strong high ground.
Yeah.
The Earthshaker Echo is always an opportunity. The Venomancer, you never want to fight into that hero if you can help it. Chronosphere, one of the best. But at bottom, if they kill him, this is
pretty much the only hero that's not an incredible high ground defender on the side of no Diggity would be the Slark.
Yeah. But even then,
and
being
even
on
then,
your high ground, you have space to move.
Yeah. But every single one of the other heroes from No Diggity is known for their incredible high ground defense, which does put a little bit more points into the potentially waiting out the next Aegis. And NewBee feel like pushing high ground is too much of a risk.
I don't think they should, though.
Yeah.
I think this is still a pretty good opportunity. At the end of the day, their heroes are really tanky, and they can just send the Viper up to hit the tower. Eventually, you have to do something about them. You can't really keep sending the Earthshaker Fissures out onto the Viper just because of that corrosive skin, which will cancel your blink repeatedly. So it's just hard to stop this assault.
No Diggity have done the best they can to set up this fight. They pushed out the top lanes, so it's going to head into the tier 2 to get some chip damage there. But now the hard part begins. They actually have to formulate some sort of defense. They're going to be giving up their tier 3 first. Looks like they're going to be waiting on the Aegis to expire before they engage, knowing that we're only moments away. But that being said, okay, that looks like a little bit of lag because Moo positions himself way too far forward.
I bet they still can't kill him, though.
Yeah, I was about to introduce our Viper as the hero who doesn't need an Aegis, because how are you going to kill him the first time around?
There's still an IO behind him. He's got pipe available. It's going to be difficult. He's got 2 bottle charges. When you notice the spread out positioning of Newbee, they're making sure that there's no sort of Echo or Chronos hero comeback. They're just going to send in their tankiest hero, which is Moo by far, and just make it difficult for them to take the fight.
Intimidation, time dilation
onto a
from
Viper.
Kezu.
I'm just like, all right.
Yeah, that's not doing anything. You think Moo cares? But in the end, a small victory is No Diggity able to get a tier 2 tower off of that. Even if it costs them the tier 3 of their own, they managed to keep their racks alive, didn't have a fight around the Aegis, and took a tower in exchange. That's not too bad.
Oh, at bottom. They need this. This is their high ground hero.
That is so bad. Kezu's obviously very, very dead, and Newbee can immediately start going high ground as soon as they get control of the mid lane.
Yeah, that's the hero that they're worried about by far the most. If you get a really good chrono, then you can set things up for pretty much everybody on your team, but that hero dead, you get some measure of map control.
Oh, they're not actually going for it. Maybe a little bit scared of the buyback, which is there for Kezu.
Yeah. You can wait for... the Spectre just continues to scale. Now he's got a full heart coming in.
Yeah.
He's caught up in farm to the Slark, who was well ahead of him for most of this game.
But failed in Discord, though.
Yeah, that is true. Fail's the ultimate equalizer.
Nerd's got some.
It is a good item pickup for value.
It is.
What else is he going to get that's going to change his fortune that much? Ags is no longer in the realm of possibility for him.
Hugely increases his own damage as well as the Invoker or Shaker and even a little bit of Slark damage.
Yeah, you negate a lot of the pipe.
Oh, Diggity. This is an interesting play by them. This 2-man smoke, they're rotating forward in front of the Slark, I guess, expecting to either find someone on their way to intercept the Slark or now hiding in the side jungle
KP.
And waiting to counter-initiate.
They're looking for any opportunities they can, but almost as if he heard me, KP says, nope, bad idea, City. Gonna meet up with the rest of his team.
Something about all that aggressive vision probably tipped them off. They've got 2 really good laning wards at bottom as well as mid.
They didn't see anybody cross.
Yeah.
No reason.
Yeah, exactly. So if no one's pushing out bottom or middle, and all you see is the Slark pushing out the top lane, some warning bells are definitely sounding.
This lane, all of this lane vision right now helps Newbee the most. They always see whenever they leave it. This mid area at bottom, they're going to spot every single hero there. Immediately the pings come out from Kaka and they're going to smoke, make their way over. This is one of their better opportunities to catch them outside their base.
Simultaneously, the lanes being so far pushed in, Newbee might have a successful smoke here. No Diggity. Do have a ward around that mid lane. Synderen might be the hero caught. Trying to put some unusual wards that won't get caught by the gem.
Yeah, they're pinging for Kezu. Their smoke's about to run out, but I think they might have the angle for this.
Yeah, they've still got him. KP. He's going to be ready to just blink. Straight up Doom. Kezu right before the time walk can go off. And again, the big high ground defender of No Diggity ends up falling. And immediately, look what No Diggity are doing in the top lane. They're going to try and respond by jumping How.
This is a hero that is going to take you a while.
Yeah, you would have to have the biggest Echo Slam. In fact, they're just going to need a stun to be able to stop that TP out. They do get it, though. And How? You know, he's got to relocate coming in. Era immediately abandoned ship. Trying to stay ahead, has his pounce ready to go, but not going to be in time, it looks like. Pops the Manta trying to dodge some of that Infernal Blade damage, but now the Haunt is going to continue to chase him down. Doesn't look like they have the counter vision available as Chuan is a bit too far away.
So they gave some abilities. They didn't have to use the BKB on the Slark. He's able to survive.
Okay, never mind. Oh, found Koifa. He's sitting in the trees and How jumps in. And obviously without his Blink Dagger, I mean, pretty much just ticked down. He went to Ghost Walk and he ticked down from Radiance.
All right.
Oh, middle lane. Ooh, Era. Quick fingers response there as he gets the Manta style
Off
off.
the top, they've left their base. This is scary. They're waiting for How to push out bottom first and for Mu to push out mid, which is the right idea. They know they're not going to leave their base without the Invoker up.
Roshan, minute and a half. Newbee have played it very patiently so far, and I see no change in fortune for them. I'm sure they're going to be waiting until Roshan is up, get themselves another Aegis, and then start corralling the creep waves in once again until they can push high ground.
Yeah. Once you get the Aegis onto the Viper or the Spectre, most likely the Spectre, just because the Viper doesn't have slots, you're in a really good spot. They might actually just push in mid, knowing that there's still 20 seconds left on that Invoker. As Mu at mid, he's just going to
buy back an arrow. Oh no, he's going to be blown up by the Finger of Death. There's no response from No Diggity, as Yapzor couldn't get a Blink Echo Slam to stop that initiation from Newbee. And now looks like they're going to have to give up a melee Rax or full buyout here in the next few seconds. That doesn't seem to be happening. Invoker just now comes back up. Kezu makes his initiation. Two-man Chronosphere. Here comes the buyback now from Era, but Synderen's already dead in the background. And How has taken no dent whatsoever in his HP pool. They did absolutely nothing to the two cores they caught inside of that Chronosphere. And now we're really seeing just the dangerous position that No Diggity are in against two cores that they can't actually output enough damage to even come close to killing them.
The one downside is that Newbee wasted the Doom as a result, but they are not nearly as reliant on that Doom as Diggity is on that Chronosphere.
Certainly not. And if they want to, before they go for that Roshan, they can wait for the Haunt to come back up. In fact, they've got plenty of items coming in. I believe KP can finish up Shiva's now, making his Blink initiation all the stronger as he's going to have lots of information available to him.
And Kaka finishes the Crimson Guard, which for a Wisp just looks funny, but nice pickup from him.
Yeah. Giving his team all the aura activatables he possibly can. And Mu, I believe, is going to be breaking apart his Dragonlance now for a Butterfly. Chuan doing a little bit of a brand theft there, taking the Eagle Song back to base. I believe Mu's ready for that one, but I don't know, maybe he wants to keep his Dragonlance. Not sure why that would be a possibility, but...
Oh, I really need to finish the butter.
Somebody pick it up. All right. Courier's on its way. We're saved.
Come, friends. Make haste. Oh, he's going to keep the Dragonlance, though. I guess if he has the slot.
Yeah.
Doesn't really need the mech anymore.
Fair enough.
It really helps with high ground. Makes it hard for them to catch out.
Yeah, true.
Forces them to commit deep for that chrono.
And No Diggity, they haven't really done much in the meantime. They've just kind of farmed away while Newbee were collecting all their items. No Diggity have just farmed kind of a personal amount, not much. There's certainly not going to be any big item changes. And Koifa at 3k might be able to get an item if they can survive the next onslaught, but this is going to be the toughest defense of all.
If you're already building the Shivas too, everything is just flooded in for Newbee. No Diggity, they're 20k, 25k behind, but they still have that one-off fight that they can take if they get a really sick chrono off. And you can't ask for a better lineup when it comes to having wombo combo spells. Yeah. But
You're
it puts so much on them.
You're certainly seeing really the way that that some of the Chinese scenes like Newbee, the initiation on Yapzor, going to be able to get the Earth Spike into Finger, follow up Hex. KP was actually hoping to be able to get an initiation on someone else, but they already had to relocate onto Sinrin, so that's fine. They clean up the Yapzor kill with KP. Get 2 there, and ready to keep on going. Hal's struggling a little bit, trying to finish up Roshan fast enough that they can start going high ground, because no Diggity are pushing in the top lane. Trying to force Newbee back as best as possible, delaying the push. Not going to be delayed for long. No Diggity need to be able to find some sort of aggressive opening, try and get a pick off on a support or something, because I do not see how they're going to be able to defend this unstoppable force of Newbee. Cheese, Aegis, everything Newbee could possibly need. All they have to do is get control of the top lane and they'll be happy.
Yeah. I know Chuan's score doesn't seem very impressive, but what he's been able to accomplish with the line, consistently finding jumps off for them, even with only having 9k net worth, buying a lot of the wards too. Done a good job so far of setting up on these core heroes. Like that mid fight where they just blew up the Slark instantly before he could respond. That forces a buyback, kills a lot of the comeback potential from Dig.
Tornado coming in, Moo sidesteps it and backs himself away. They're still waiting for Hao to push out the top lane. He's got the Haunt ready to go, so Newbee can actually fight right away.
Yeah, they're just going to go for it behind Moo. They know he's got 3,200 HP, no MKB or anything to speak of. They're going to have to make some sort of play happen at him.
A seemingly impossible task ahead of no Diggity. Gonna need the team fight initiation of their lives. It's gonna start with Era jumping onto Moo and manage to get the Silver Edge proc onto him, but there is going to be saved. Nice relocate in the back. They did get the Chronosphere, but only catches one. Looks like he tried to catch the Wisp as well, but no such luck. Yapzor gonna have to pop the Echo Slam shortly before he dies, but again, not really much of a dent being put in Hao. Just keeps on going straight for Kezu, while the rest of No Diggity retreat back to their fountain as Newbee take full control of the No Diggity base.
Yeah, there's almost nothing that Diggity can do now without their 2 big team fights. They're just going to call it at that point, but Newbee had complete control of the game for the last 20-25 minutes or so.
Very cool, calm, composed play from Newbee there as they extended it into the late game. They knew they had the advantage. They knew they had essentially already won as long as they didn't make any mistakes, so they made sure to just build that advantage more and more, but it was really the early to mid game where Newbee managed to make their big plays. We saw the way No Diggity were gaining some control. Newbee finally got the read of the game and managed to respond appropriately.
Yeah, if you're going to center anything, it's going to be that fight at bottom where times of charm is Newbee turns that around. They were able to